Welcome to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast, where we talk about all things money, mindset and business with real life stories and real life people. Let's get into the episode. Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Money, Mindset and Business. Today we are talking to Ashley Leeds. So Ashley is somebody that I've known for quite a while now. We met because we're in the same community, the Six Figure Bookkeeper Club. He goes in there and does his sales mindset training, and I go in and do my money mindset training. And I've actually been on one of Ashley's training courses, which I'm sure he will tell you all about in the episode. So Ashley, please come on and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi there. So yeah, my name is Ashley Leeds, as you've already said, but I go under the moniker of the 15-minute guy. And this is because I do everything in 15 minutes, because life's too short and we have too many meetings where too many people are spending too much time talking kinds of stuff when you can do it in 15 minutes. So I do it all in 15 minutes and then we get things done. So that's what I do.
Awesome. So what is your current business that you're running, Ashley?
So the name of my business is Full Cup Coaching. And I initially set it up so that I could actually coach accountants and bookkeepers, because that's what I was doing in my previous role. Unbeknown to me, an anti-compete clause means you can't even talk to people. So for 6 months, I wasn't allowed to talk to accountants and bookkeepers. And I decided to pivot and go and do something totally different, and ended up doing LinkedIn. And this is where I am. So now I'm an expert on LinkedIn. I've even written a book. I'm doing public speaking, and it's just opened up so many other doors. So my anti-compete clause was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Awesome. Brilliant. So in terms of business, money, mindset, and all that sort of stuff, you've just said that you were employed.
Yes, yeah, I've been employed for 40 odd years. So yeah, always worked for somebody else.
So when you entered into the entrepreneurial world, it's a minefield, understanding what it means to be a business owner. So where were you? What was the situation? Why did you leave your job role? And what got you into being an entrepreneur?
So it's a great story. I was working in a company where I lost the magic in the business. The business owner wanted to go one way, I wanted to go another way, and it just wasn't working for me anymore. And I just thought, well, what else could I do? And so I left that role with the plan to go and get another role in another business working for somebody else. And my wife turned around to me and said, why don't you just set up on your own? And I've never had the thought that anyone would want to work with me as a sole business owner, a proprietor, an entrepreneur, whatever. I'd never really had that thought that would ever happen with me. And so it was then that I thought, well, why not? Why not give it a go? I've just given up my job. I didn't have anything else to go to. So what could I do that would earn some money? And I thought, well, I know a few accountants, I know a few bookkeepers, I'm good at coaching, I'm sure I could pick something up. So that's what I did. And then I started getting into that, started talking to lots of different people, and that's when the anti-compete became a real pain for me. So I then sort of thought, what else can I do? And that's when I found LinkedIn and started doing all that sort of stuff with LinkedIn and just building that part of the business. And it's just taken off. It's absolutely taken off.
Awesome. So in terms of like, you've left your job, you've realized this non-compete, and you're like, what am I going to do? And that's when you went into LinkedIn. What was your thought processes at the time? How were you feeling? Was it overwhelming? Were you worried? Were you scared? Or did you always have this knowledge that you were going to make something of yourself at that point?
No, not at all. Absolutely not at all. So when you give up a job, you're giving up an income. Okay. And you obviously need to replace that income because that's what's going to pay all your bills. And my wife turned around, she said, look, we've got some savings, so give it a go. and we can draw off the savings. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But she had every faith in me. She had absolutely every faith in me. You know what they say, behind every great man, there's an even greater woman. And Debbie is that greater woman. So I'm there trying to do some different things to get people to notice me, to get up. So I'm doing a lot more on LinkedIn, bearing in mind, I wasn't a LinkedIn specialist then. I was a coach for accountants. I was working with a couple of software companies to get my name out there. So doing some work. So similar to what I do with the Six Figure Bookkeeper, I do some parallel stuff and partnership stuff with them. And that was the idea with these other companies. But I wasn't allowed to do any of that under the terms and conditions of the contract that I signed 3 or 4 years earlier, when everything in the garden was rosy. And it's a real shame, because there's enough business out there for everybody. And why have the pain of an anti-compete clause? And rather than fight it, because if you start fighting these things, okay, all of your energy goes into that. It starts sapping your energy and stuff like that. And I was working with a mentor at the time, a guy called Richard, who I know locally. And so he was there to support me and point me in the right direction. He said, look, you're going to need to find something else. What is it you can do? And so one day I was in the shower or taking a walk, and I thought, I know what I can do. Because I'd been helping some of our accountants when I was doing the coaching for this business, because I'd been helping them with their LinkedIn, I knew that what I knew and what I could teach them and what I could show them and help them with actually works. So that's when I came up with my 50 minutes a day, my LinkedIn Daily Habit Workshop. And so basically it's 50 minutes every single day for one whole week. And I get people loving LinkedIn. And I know this works because one of my accountants that I was working with said, oh, I need to know how to do LinkedIn. I said, right, I can show you. And I pointed him in the right direction, let him go, saw him next week. He'd done nothing. So I opened up my screen, shared everything. And I said, right, this, you do this, you do that, you do that. Oh, I've got it. Next week turns up. Nope, still hasn't done it. I said, right, tomorrow, 9 o'clock, you, me, on a Zoom, we're going to do this, this, and this. We go on 15 minutes and we do this, this, and this. And basically he shares his screen. I go, you need to click here, and then you click here. And basically I was telling him to do everything, a bit like when you're a backseat driver, take the next left, take the next right, slow down, speed up, whatever. Yeah. So that's what I was doing. By the end of that week, so it's 50 minutes every day. By the end of that week, he had a £1,200 order from someone that he was working with in a different capacity, but because he then became front of mind, it just, wow, that is amazing. So within a week, this guy knew nothing about LinkedIn and then had customers from LinkedIn. And so I knew I could do it. So what I did is I spoke to loads of friends, including Richard. I got them all on this Zoom, and I did this 15-minute a day and just went for it. And they all absolutely loved it. They all wrote me testimonials that, they all talked about it, et cetera, et cetera. So therefore I could now sell the next one. There was a lady called Karen on that workshop. She was lovely. She still is lovely. She's amazing. She's an amazing lady. And she sent me in the post, I've still got it here. She sent me this in the post. Okay. So basically that I'm holding up a card that says Devon Hampers. And in there it says, full cup coaching is awesome. Just saying, thank you for all your help, Karen. That came with a couple of scones, thing of jam, and a thing of clotted cream. Okay. So not an expensive gift, but because I'd done the workshop for free, she felt that, I needed something. So that there, okay, insignificant as it may seem to everybody else, was proof that I had something that people would buy. And That's awesome. It was so much proof that she paid for her husband to come on the next cohort. And when you stop and look back at things, do you remember, I'll just send him a couple of scones. It meant so much to me.
We've still got it now.
Well, it was pivotal in my business. Yeah, I did not think that anyone would pay to listen to me talking about LinkedIn. Yeah, but they did, and they still are.
This is Leah just interrupting the podcast. The next section, Ashley is going to be talking about all of the events that he's got coming up. However, this episode was recorded in May, therefore the information is now out of date, and all of these things have already happened. However, I am aware that Ashley's next daily habits workshop for LinkedIn is on the 10th of July. So if you're interested in attending, go down into the show notes and you will be able to join on and be one of those hundreds of people, including myself, that Ashley has made LinkedIn enjoyable for. See you soon. Let's get on with the episode.
And on May the 22nd, I am doing my 31st cohort. So I've trained over 300 people on LinkedIn, and by the end of the week, well, you know, I was one of them, yeah. Yeah, they absolutely love it by the end of the week. It's just great fun, and I have made so many friends from being active on this platform. You know, I get asked on podcasts and stuff like that. It is absolutely incredible, and so. That was where I started, and now what I'm trying to do is to build into doing other things. I'm off to Dublin tomorrow. I'm doing a talk for a company called Profit Pro, so a load of accountants in a room, and I'm talking to them about working and those sorts of things. So it's opened up so many doors. If I'd have just stayed being coaching accountants, I would have a few accountants and I'd be just in that tiny little bubble. But now the sky's the limit. The sky is an absolute limit.
Yeah, I mean, what this is bringing to my mind is people who obviously are starting that entrepreneurial journey, and they have in their mind, right, this is what I'm good at, therefore this is what I should be doing as a business. But like yourself, they may have a roadblock in the way. And there are a lot of people that at that point in time would then just quit and go, oh, well, it's not for me then, because there's too much blockage for me to get what I want and be where I want to be. But what you've just shown is an example of breaking down those blockages and moving the barriers and say, actually, I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm more than good at coaching accountants and bookkeepers, but I'm also good at this. And it's thinking outside of the box and driving your entrepreneurship with not just skills and knowledge, but also with a little bit of a passion behind it. And from being on your 15-minute a day week course, I know that you have massive passion for getting people to love LinkedIn, because, you know, when I came onto your course, I was very skeptical. I was like, I hate LinkedIn. It's so much hard work. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And you were like, you will love it by the end. And I did, and I still do. It's still my preferred platform for social media, and it's all thanks to you. And I think that's amazing. So if you could offer some advice to anybody who's possibly at the point that you were when you started your journey into entrepreneurship, and they're feeling like, okay, so this is what I should be doing because this is what I know, this is what I've been doing for my whole career, etc. What advice would you give them to try and break down those barriers?
Talk to people. I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur. I thought of myself as a guy in a shed. You can see I'm in my shed today, just talking to a few people, and it's a little business. Yeah. I've always worked for people. I've always had a salary. I get a pay slip and don't have to worry about any of that. And as a side hustle, I'm a musician. You can see the guitars in the background. I play a few gigs and I get paid a few quid to do those gigs. And I do a tax return at the end of the year for, I don't know, a grand or two, depending on the season and how well we've done and how many gigs I've done. And so that's all I felt that this business was another side hustle. And I never thought of myself as an entrepreneur. And as I'm going down this journey of getting in new clients, working this out, working that out, I signed up to the NatWest Business Accelerator. That was incredible, absolutely incredible. I could have finished my journey with the LinkedIn, with NatWest Business Accelerator after my first session. The first session was so powerful. It just changed everything that I thought that I was thinking about. And it was after that session that I then started calling myself an entrepreneur. And I think if you surround yourself with people on a similar journey that may be a few steps ahead of you, and those few steps could be weeks, it could be years, it could be months, it really doesn't matter. But then you start picking up all of their vibe. And I think the benefit I've got is I have got so many friends, and I can call them friends now, that are in a similar position. You know, there's some ahead of me, there's some behind me, there's some doing an awful lot better than me, there's some that are struggling. We're all at different levels, but we all talk regularly and we all help each other. So if you're sat in your shed and you're thinking, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I was going to go back to my job, just take 5 minutes. Pick up the phone and give me a shout. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I've had a couple of calls recently with some people because they're feeling overwhelmed at the moment. And it's just taking stock and seeing where you are. I think the biggest thing in business, Leah, is we're all climbing a mountain. So we're all looking up at the summit of the mountain. Sometimes there's a few clouds covering the top and you can't see. But all we're doing is we're worrying about getting to the top. We're going to get to the top someday, but we're just worrying. We're getting there. We're getting there. This has happened. That's happened. Yeah, we fall down. We pick ourselves up, etc., etc. How many times do we stop and turn around and see how far we've come? Now, literally just celebrated my 2nd anniversary in business. And I did a post all about the numbers. So over the last 2 years, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. And when you write it all down, everybody was going on. I said, oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's impressive. Da, 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 da. But we all do the same thing. And if you just sat down and worked out what you've done over the last 2 years, you know, how many transactions have you done? You know, that is incredible. You know, if you've got 10 clients and each one of those has got 100 transactions a month, then if you work that out over 2 years, oh my goodness, I've done all of those transactions. Yeah. And it's just stopping, pausing, taking a breath and looking back down to the bottom of the mountain and to see how far we've come. And that's the thing.
Analogy. I love that. I love that so much. I think we do. I know I myself have been in this place where I'm looking forward and I'm like, oh, this is so difficult. This is so hard. I don't know what I'm doing. And it is that point in time when you stop, sit and reflect and go, okay, 12 months ago, where was I?
Yeah.
And think of the journey of the last 12 months and how incredible that has actually been and how far you have climbed up that mountain. I mean, that mountain is never ending because there is no top.
No, of course there isn't. Of course there isn't. those clouds.
Yeah. There's just never a top. We just carry on growing as people, as humans, as relationships and everything. So yeah, I absolutely love that analogy. And it's definitely something that I've done myself, of looking back and seeing where I've come from rather than just focusing deadly ahead all the time.
And the other thing that we also do is we're looking up this mountain and we see these other people ahead of us. And we're thinking, oh, why aren't I like that? You know, we might be climbing up this mountain and they might overtake us as we're going up this mountain and they're further forward. And don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. It's hare and tortoise all over again. And as long as you're making progress, that is what counts. Yeah, it's the making the progress that is important. It's not about how far the progress is. Even a step. I don't know if you saw much of the marathon. A friend's son was competing, and so I had to help her get him set up on her mobile phone so that it was some sort of tracking thing.
Yeah.
So she could watch him all the way around the marathon. Oh, that's fun. That's really cool. So I followed him, and he had a bad calf. It'd gone into the run with a bad leg. And, you know, she was saying he probably won't finish. He finished, all right, in 5 hours and 50 minutes, all right, which That's not going to break any records. But this is a guy that was nursing a bad leg. So he must have felt an absolute $1 million. All right. So he strolls in like nearly 6 hours after, not 6 hours after everybody else, but 6 hours. So 4 hours after the elite athletes. All right. 3 hours after the normal people. But there was still 1 million people behind him. All right. But he did it. And I think that's what we've got to celebrate, is the fact that we get to where we're going, even if it's going to take us a little bit longer. It doesn't matter. He did the marathon. Did you run the marathon at the weekend? No, and neither did I. So he's better than both of us. His time compared to the elite is rubbish, but he's better than you and me. Okay. And that's the thing. That's what we've got to remember. My business, I'm not making millions, but I'm better than all of those that aren't having their own business. And look, just compare yourself with where you are today to where you were last week, the week before, or last year, the year before that, or whatever. Don't compare yourself to anybody else, because that's where all the problems happen.
Oh, definitely. I mean, each individual person has their own individual journey. So my journey is going to be different to your journey, and vice versa, because we're different people. We're in different parts of the world. We've got different coaching businesses. We've got different lives. I've got young kids. Your kids are grown up. You've got grandkids now. So
don't tell everybody. Don't tell everybody.
So we can't, it's the comparisonitis that a lot of people have is sometimes what destroys their drive. Because they're like, oh, but so-and-so is doing the same as me, but they're X, Y, Z ahead of me. But you can't compare, because your circumstances, your life, your environment, your beliefs, your values, and everything about you is completely unique to you. So you are never going to be the same as anybody else, even if you try. And if you carry on trying to be somebody else, you'll never be yourself.
And that is exactly why I succeed, because I am brilliant at being Ashley Leeds every single day. Yeah, it's really good.
I mean, I remember when I was doing your LinkedIn training, you were at was it an accountancy convention at a football pitch?
Oh, you did that. You did that one, did you? I did a talk. I was on a panel. Yeah.
You're in the stalls with a couple of the other people that were doing the course I think Anne Marshall was there?
That's right.
Well?
Yeah.
And you were doing the 15 minutes from the stalls with the other accountants that were doing the LinkedIn training there with you. And I mean, how more unique do you get than that? You're committed to showing up. You're committed to doing the training, regardless of what it is that you're doing at the specific time, because you make time to do it in the Ashley Leeds way.
Brilliant.
So tell me, so you're trying to push your coaching business now that your non-compete's gone, or lapsed, should I say. How are you finding kind of the transition or the running of both the LinkedIn training and the coaching?
So my business is predominantly LinkedIn. So I'm not advertising or marketing or anything with the coaching. So if anybody finds me, then we'll have a chat and I'll help them with some coaching. So at the moment, that is it's not my lead business. If you're an accountant and a bookkeeper and you want to grow your business or make some changes in your business, I have a coaching qualification and experience of working in this space for the last 16 years. So yeah, I'm your guy. It's all bespoke. It's all on a one-to-one basis. Just been chatting with one of my clients this morning, and he's been updating his website based on what we were discussing a couple of weeks ago. And that website, because he's doing some work on SEO and using ChatGPT and some FAQs. He said he's appearing okay in on Google. I did a search on my computer here, and he was on page 1 from that page that he wrote himself, which was all led a few weeks ago. So I meet this guy on a weekly basis. I was chatting to him a number of weeks ago, and he couldn't do something because he was waiting for his web guy to do something. And I said, just give it a go, see if you can do it. And now he's upgrading his website and ranking high for
awesome.
this. It's incredible, isn't it? Incredible. And another guy, this is the best ever story. Another guy, this morning I was chatting to him, and he said he didn't know, and so I googled it, and I showed him my screen, and there it was on Amazon, his book. So this guy has written a book because I have been working with him to help him make that happen. So yeah, it's just incredible. So yeah, if anyone wants to come and work with me, then you have to seek me out, because what I want to do is I want to make this LinkedIn thing really fly. So I'm developing other programs and stuff like that. But if you're lucky enough to work with me on the coaching side, then those are the sorts of things that we can achieve. So yeah, I just love it. It's just amazing. And I'm also trying to do more with my public speaking, because I absolutely love that with a passion. These sorts of sessions I love doing, working in the six-figure group, helping all of your peers, those sorts of things. That's what I love.
Brilliant. So how did you get into public speaking? Because I know you did the LinkedIn training, but how do you go from being a LinkedIn trainer to speaking at conventions and flying over to Dublin that you've just told me that you're doing tomorrow?
I know.
How do you do that? How do you transition?
I think as an entrepreneur, you have to be open. You have to be open to absolutely everything. And so you don't think that you can be a public speaker because no one's going to want to listen to you. But then as you stop and take stock, you sort of like think, well, people are inviting me onto their podcast, so they obviously value what I say. And so I was involved in a group, and so I was well known in that group. So it's a little local group that we did during COVID. People just jumped on a Zoom and we met every morning just to help ourselves through COVID. So I was well known in that because I did a few things on a Friday. There's one of the guys wasn't quite in the group, but knew a guy that knew a guy. And he was starting up again after COVID, their networking event. And he said, would you come and talk? I thought, no one's ever asked me to go and talk. Obviously, he wasn't going to pay me. I get a free breakfast. And it was stupid o'clock in the morning. But I went and I gave this little talk. And it was about the story of how I started in business. And when you do your talk, right, you practice it to your wife. So Debbie had to listen to it a couple of times. I'm practicing it in here, and it's quite dry. When you're stood up in front of an audience and you deliver the lines that you're expecting, a laugh or a cry or a clap or whatever, and they do those things, there's nothing sweeter in the world. It is just incredible to look around at the audience and see them all looking up to you, beaming because I'm getting to an interesting bit or something like that. I've already alluded that I'm a musician and I play music. When I'm on stage with my band and we knock out a number and everyone's up and dancing and singing along and goodness knows what else, I do what Robbie Williams does. I grab hold of the microphone and I hold it to the audience and they sing back. And there is nothing better in the world than seeing all of that and then a round of applause. So I think it's just an extension of that. I'm quite used to being on the stage. I've done pantomime and stuff like that as well. So I don't think it was a difficult transition. I just needed to believe that people wanted me. So this guy who booked me for that talk made me think, oh, maybe it's worth doing. And I don't know if you know this, but more people are afraid of public speaking than they are dying. So
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
If you turn around and Google what are people afraid of, you're going to get spiders, snakes, flying, all that sort of stuff. Public speaking is the highest, normally towards the top. But death, no one's ever afraid of death, which is weird. You just turn around and what are you scared of? No one says, I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of spiders. or flies or clowns. Clowns is another one. Or
yeah, I've got a story about a fear of clowns, which I'll say for another day.
or the fear of social media.
Mm.
Physiobibliophobia, if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
No, but more people are afraid of public speaking. So I went and did this speaking gig and absolutely loved it and thought, right, how do I do more? I then did a post on LinkedIn all about the gap of costs and stuff for accountants, and that resonated with Lorraine Ellison from SEMA. And she said, I'm just putting together a program for speakers at SEMA. Would you come and talk? I'm like, oh my goodness, really? And they paid me. And so that was incredible. And then that was sort of like, right, well, if they're paying me, someone else might pay me. And so what I'm doing at the moment is building that up. So I'm talking at Accountex. I'm doing something at the Digital Accountancy Show, which is where you saw me. I'm flying over tomorrow. And they loved me so much at SEMA. They invited me back this year as the keynote speaker.
Ooh.
So if this was Glastonbury, I'd be the headline act. And when they do that, okay, you know that you must have something.
Yeah.
Even though I still don't think I have, that other people have got faith in me. And somebody I'm working with suggested that I said, are they videoing it? And I said, well, they're not. And she said, you need to get it videoed. And so at huge expense, I paid for somebody up in Solihull to come and video the talk that I did. And then it's now with an editor. So the editor is now doing it. And yesterday I got the draft of the, they call it a show reel. So literally it was an hour-long talk, and it's condensed into 3 minutes with testimonials. So a few people went over and chatted to the cameraman afterwards. And I look back at that and I think, oh my goodness, it's an amazing show reel. And you know, now I know that if someone rings up and says, oh, I want you to come and talk, will you do it for free? I can quite rightly turn around and say, no, you need to pay me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It is. I'd still pinch myself. I still pinch myself.
I mean, myself, I got approached by Free Agent recently to talk on a week-long bookkeepers boost week they're doing in June, to be a panelist on their boost week out of nowhere. But what you've just said and what's happening in my own world just goes to show that once you start putting yourself out there and start speaking and talking about what you're passionate about and what you believe and how you want to help people and put it in value out there, people will notice you, even if you don't realize that they are. And it's then when those opportunities come along to you that you say yes. I'm running a masterclass next week on stepping into the fear for my membership. And this is all about what stepping into the fear is, getting outside of your comfort zone. Because for me, as an accountant by trade, I've had to learn and grow to be confident to come on camera and talk. I wouldn't be doing this when I first started my entrepreneur journey. You would not have got me in front of the camera, hosting a podcast show, talking to people quite confidently and openly, and just without going bright red in the face and basically turning the camera off. And it's not for me, it didn't come naturally. I've had to work at it, but what it shows is that if you are passionate about something and you've got something you want to say, you need to push yourself and learn to grow into what you want to be. And that's exactly what you've done, and that's exactly what I'm doing in my own
and that's exactly what everybody else. That's exactly what everybody else is doing. But sometimes they don't realize that they're making progress, and what they need to do is stop and look back.
Exactly,
because we're all making progress.
We are, definitely. It's awesome. Your journey, Ashley, has been amazing. If you could sum up for anybody who's listening, say 5 key things that you would pinpoint as being pinnacle points between where you started your journey to where you are now, what would they be? 5 key points.
Oh my goodness. Consistency. I just, everything I do, I just do it consistently, and that's reflected in that post that I did. Talking. So you know, surrounding yourself with people who you want to be like. Yeah. Remove all of that toxicity. Is that the word? Because
Yes.
there's a lot of it around. There's a lot of it around. Being open. So that's 3, isn't it? So what did I say? You're not writing this down.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Talking.
Yeah.
And
being open.
Being open, yes.
Authenticity. So I've never tried to be anything that I'm not. So it's all about authenticity, and I think taking time out, and not taking myself too seriously. I think that's the other thing. I do not take myself seriously at all. I don't know how many.
That's a good one.
I don't know how many people you know who are serious that actually have yellow shirts on. I even bought a pair of yellow Converse so that when I go on stage,
you're all on brand.
Absolutely. So and that, and my show reel, the last bit of the show reel is my pair of yellow shoes. It's just, it looks really cool. So yeah. Awesome. So there you go. So if you've got all 5 there, then
I've written them down this time.
Yeah.
And I will put them in the show notes afterwards. So Ashley, this has been absolutely amazing. I love chatting to you. You always make me smile.
Oh, thank you.
Your energy is definitely infectious. And even via Zoom, you can feel it coming through the screen, how energetically high that you are, and I love it. So I've absolutely enjoyed this conversation. And if anybody wants to find Ashley, he's on LinkedIn.
Yep, I am actually on LinkedIn, believe it or not.
He's all over LinkedIn. But I'll have his links to everything in the comments, including his up and coming LinkedIn 5-day, 15-minute challenge. So you can join that.
And that starts on the 22nd of May. I'm not sure when this is going out, but I'm actually at Accountex on the 10th and 11th of May. So if anyone wants to come and say hello, I will be on stand 430, and I will be talking at Accountex. I was so excited when I found out that I'd be talking there. It's just an amazing thing. So yeah, I'm looking so forward to that. So yeah, thank you very much for having me on your show, Leah, and well done. I think this is brilliant. I think it's so brilliant because I've been watching your journey too, and look at you blossom.
Thank you very much, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers.
Bye-bye.